Hi guys, welcome to another Dots live stream. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now we've got the YouTube rubbish out the way. I need a drink. Which appears to be slightly golden colour, which is really a bit perverse because it's a black vodka, this time with lemonade. And yeah, it's still disgusting. No matter what you do with it, it's disgusting. This one's late because it wasn't until Sunday afternoon I actually felt inspired to well, not do anything, but actually have something to talk about. And that was prompted by watching YouTube videos on the Sunday afternoon because it was too hot to go out, and it's getting very hot in here. 500 watt here. And it's tungsten, so it's not that efficient. What was he called? Creaky Blinder. He's an interesting character. Is a channel well worth looking at simply because his production is quite exciting. Well, if you can get excited about that sort of thing. He's actually quite humorous. He's got it in for flat earthers. And there was something he said today that reminded me of an explanation that I shall link in the description. I shall tell you when to watch it. About basically one of the things flat earthers get upset about, and there's quite a lot, is the size of things. And we'll come to that in a minute because here I have a model of the Earth. As you can see, it's flat. It raises a lot of questions. Apart from why doesn't the water run off the edge? That's because Antarctica encircles the edge and stops the water running off. Another question, how thick is it? How thick is the Earth? Or is it just an infinite cylinder? What holds it up? I give up sometimes. But anyway, one of the things I come up with is that the sun, we all say the sun is this enormous star 93 million miles away. Well, apparently it isn't. Apparently it's smaller than the Earth. We know that because we can look up in the sky and we can measure it, and the sun's about that big. Here is our Earth. Here is our not quite to scale and rather funny shape, and I'll eat it in a minute, sun. Small. Far away. There's no light on it. There we are. There was an eclipse of the Earth, which can't be eclipsed except by... Even then the sun's still bigger. You get the idea. I'll make the sun smaller slowly as we make it fit. Beef interlude. It's got butter, sodium carbonate, which I can taste, mixed herbs, and cinnamon in it. Still quite tasty. Back to our model, Earth. How do time zones work? How does the sun... Let's find a smaller sun. Well, I can do that with it. I don't have a smaller sun. I do have a bigger Earth with a hole in it. Just pretend the white bit on the end of here is the sun. And we've got our flat Earth, and the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, rises in the east. How does it get back there? Does it nip round the back like that and then go all around the front? Or is it the world rotating, in which case that might work? But it's a flat plane, so the sun's up here at any respectable altitude. The illumination across the Earth would be pretty much constant, unless it's designed to only light half the Earth, If I thought about this before making it, I could have probably set up some clever lighting and we could have looked at that. It cost a fortune, but you know. How many different problems with flat Earth can you come up with? The other one, and I need a straight edge. Do I have a straight edge? No, don't be silly. Should I do? It's a bit of paper. Straight edge where it touches and it's a point contact, theoretically. A curved plane is a tangent. And that's something else that flat earthers seem to have a problem with. You can roll that along there if you wanted to, or yeah, whatever. Gravity works through the centre of mass, middle of the earth. So, and I'm advertising, we'll turn it round. So, gravity acting at that, a line at right angles to the action of gravity is a tangent at the point of contact. If this arc is very, 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 very big, I mean, there it's quite noticeable. If I got something that's really, you know, pretty colours now, because I'm going to do that. It's slightly less obvious. Excuse me, if that arc was part of a circle, say 12,000 miles across, how long a piece of straight edge would I need before, or would I need before you could see that arc forming? I am going to pass this on to somebody else. I'm going to say, Josh, go and do some sums for me. I need another drink. The horizon isn't flat, it appears flat. In fact, it's very, very difficult to get a sharp horizon. Do this little man. There we are. He's walking. I'm going to try and keep this constant height round the curve. We start off with slightly, because I mean we've got a man here who's about 2,500 miles tall. Come round there, and he keeps walking round, disappears. If we do it on a flat edge, unless he bends over, no, he doesn't. It's an interesting thought. I need more sustenance. There are a number of very good arguments for a spherical Earth. Apart from the fact that the physics works better. How many flat earthers do you know who have a PhD in physics? How many do you know who have a PhD in mechanics? How many do you know who have a PhD? Well, maths would be another good subject. I've just found another possible model of the Earth. It's got Canon written on it. Of course, yeah, that's they're forgers, because you know they supply equipment by which means we can. Technical hitch here. I do not understand why the microphone keeps sinking. It means I now have to check the there are so many different things that come up with the flat Earth, which become very problematical. It gets silly. It gets that the entire cosmos up in the sky out there, which is not quite dark enough for me to go and look at, is faked. Is this the biblical dome over the firmament? And if we're running down that route, we're talking about something was written how many thousands of years ago? By people who had what understanding of their surroundings? you can see the problem. The problem just gets worse and worse and worse all the time. The problem with the perspective and with the sun being really very big but a long way away, try 93 million miles. Oh no, it can't be. It's painted onto the firmament, but it still rises in the east, sets in the west, passes overhead. So it can't be running around the edge because it passes overhead. You can do that by measuring shadow length. It passes overhead and rises in the east. So, and as it's going under the earth and nipping across and popping up the other side, which seems a bit pointless. It kind of suggests that the Earth is spherical and it doesn't really matter whether the sun's revolving around the Earth or the Earth around the sun. Although if we look at the other planets, of course, it's all faked. It would certainly be set up to suggest that the sun is the centre of the solar system. Odd thing to fake. Very odd thing to fake. Why would you do that? Why would you spend millions, if not billions, if not trillions of US dollars and Russian rubles and presumably UK pounds sterling to send things into space, or to forge sending things into space to make up a lie? Well, I just can't see any benefit in it. In the same way that I find it very difficult to see any good science in a flat earth theory. Now you're going to think, yeah, you keep going on about God. Yeah. But I don't actually claim to present any evidence, any empirical scientific evidence that there is a God. I am starting from the same point that my grandfather was starting in with flight when he was born. When my grandfather was born, he couldn't fly. There were no aeroplanes. They did not exist. There might be a few gliders that would glide maybe a couple hundred feet before they crashed. And there were hot air balloons. And that was it. By the time my grandfather died, we had a supersonic transport service across the Atlantic, carrying passengers, fare-paying passengers, about 3 times a day. By the time my father died, the moon, that big thing that made of cheese, is like floating around in the sky. People have walked on that. In fact, I'm trying to remember when the first flight was. It doesn't matter. You should be able to remember this. By the time the Wright brothers have got their little plane to fly across a patch of desert under powered flight, first ever powered flight, absolutely miraculous, and up to probably a year prior had been considered absolutely impossible. My grandfather was at school. And it's not just my grandfather. You jump a couple of generations and you get me. I can remember being told at school that man will never walk on the moon. And much to my shock, I looked up the other day and realised I was being told that within a year of man walking on the moon. Things happen that quickly. Oh, will we ever go to the moon? No one will ever go to the moon. That's quite impossible, we were told by our teachers. No, it can't happen. It's just not possible. No one will ever go to the moon. And a year later, I can remember sitting in front of our old black and white television, watching Neil Armstrong step out of the lunar lander. And those words, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It looked like quite a big leap for him, actually, because the stairs didn't make it all the way down to the lunar surface. Things happen in science very, very quickly. And that is actually one of the things that I love about mixing theology and science. You see things happen and you think, yeah, that's miraculous. You've got to consider that as miraculous. Stephen Hawkins was an avid atheist for many years. and finally had to acknowledge that there might be something you want to. There's probably something you might want to call God out there somewhere, or working somehow. Not necessarily the sort of traditional God that people think of, but something absolutely amazingly mystical, as can be seen in the purity of mathematics. And the way theologians also think about the cosmos can be quite exciting. But I'll save that for another time. I'm getting really hot now. If you've survived this long, well done. Follow the link that will tell you about small and far away in the in the bit underneath. Under comments. No, it's not comments. It's description. Yeah. And you'll learn about small and far away if that's causing you problems. Do have a look at Creaky Blinder. I'm going to get rid of this now because it's disgusting. So, pardon me, it can go down my neck. Saha. Actually, it tasted better after standing for a while. I shall finish devouring the sun. We might come up with something drony in the week. If not, hopefully next weekend. If not, somebody send me some garbage about what I blabber on about for a while. And we'll see you all again soon.